This is a sink. How does it work? Well, at one level it works like this. You turn on the water with a little lever and water comes out. In this visualization of interactions over Twitter with my account using Visify.com, some individuals are closer to me, some individuals are farther from me, some individuals are large, some individuals are made small. They're in concentric circles. What do they mean? It's hard to know. If we click on a particular circle indicating another particular account, some additional information is produced, but it's not clear what the units of that additional information are and what they represent. There's no way for us to download the raw data produced by Visify to understand it in greater detail. The service Hootsuite has a remarkably useful interface for posting to multiple forms of social media, all from the same place. But if we're interested in analytics, that is, looking at the patterns of social media use and understanding who the important influencers are in the network and where they are posting at what times, we have to move to the Analytics tab, at which point we're invited to create a report. Now, to create a report, a user needs to have a Pro plan, which is an investment of $120 a year. With that $120 a year, it's possible to produce one report and maintain one report, or to spend $50 for each additional report. And these are basic reports. So if I move to create a report now, this is the sort of report that I can produce, and it is only regarding the Twitter account that is associated with my own Twitter account. So I have difficulty creating a report that is about other Twitter accounts. I can get some information about followers and followings, and that's useful to some extent, but I can also get that directly from Twitter on the front page. I can track the number of followers, I can track the number of mentions, and I get a list of recent posts in which I'm mentioned, but I can also get that directly from Twitter through a simple search. If I want to obtain something a little bit more interesting, if I want to add a report that might indicate keywords, and I compare them over time, you notice I have to pay additional points. Each point is $1. These can be useful and interesting pieces of information that I might receive. I can find out some information about whether these pieces of information are positive or negative in emotion based on the particular words that are being used. But again, that costs an additional $30 to maintain. So in order to really drill down into Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or other social analytics, I have to start paying money. This is useful and not a huge consideration for a large nonprofit organization or for a business that's reasonably large. For an individual, an entrepreneur who's just starting out, this can be a significant hurdle to clear. If we visit a website called Simply Measured, we're invited to receive a free Twitter follower report, but only if we volunteer our personal information to Simply Measured, agree to provide Simply Measured with Twitter follow, which increases their credibility, and also which allows Simply Measured to control our Twitter account to some extent. The result that we receive is very attractive in providing with a brushed metal look, a list of followers, a list of tweets, a clout score, some distributions of followers, some information about keywords, although in very small text, and some information about who among our followers has been tweeting lately, who has the most followers, and where they sit in a time zone. These are really interesting charts. They provide some general information, and to its credit, Simply Measured offers a follow-up with some particular lists of followers in Excel format so that we can receive that set of statistics and use them as we will. However, we're not able to take a look at latest tweets. We're not able to get a list of raw data that gives us the followers to friends ratio and on other sets of data. This is relatively involved. It's certainly more involved than the information Hootsuite provides, but it's not as detailed as we might otherwise receive. On the other hand, it is free. We don't have to pay a penny for it.
But that's the surface level of understanding how a sync works. If we want to understand in greater detail how a sync works, we need to go a little lower down. We need to look at the plumbing. We can see there's a series of pipes in there, and some bigger pipes and some smaller pipes, and we might think about how those pipes and those valves with water in them work to create the experience we see up above with water.
The essential mechanisms of social media, its plumbing, to follow this metaphor, are association in groups forming two-mode affiliations, and communications between nodes, ties, one-mode adjacencies in edges. Edges are visible for social media in packages like NodeXL and Gephi and NameGenWeb, and they can produce startling images such as this image, which shows the emergence over a number of days of communication between individuals using the hashtag #IamMargaretMary. Margaret Mary being a woman who was an adjunct professor at a university and was paid so little that she was unable to afford her own home, and who died abandoned in a functional sense by her university. You can create visualizations such as this that show the emergence of a communication network. That visualization can be effective, but at the same time, it is possible to preserve the guts of that basic social media, in this case, the edges on the other side of the NodeXL package, saved as a spreadsheet file. Packages like NodeXL and Gephi are open source and freely available, so really they're quite inexpensive as a laptop, and you can maintain a lot of control over the datasets you use, although if you have a mere laptop, you will have to have small datasets. Analyzing these datasets can be very intensive in terms of memory for a computer, although relatively easy. You have to know a little bit more about social network analysis, however, to get a meaningful result.
If we wanted to go into really great detail, we might want to notice the materials that create the faucet, that create the PVC or copper pipes if you have a really old house, lead pipes, and how the valves themselves are built what the mechanism is on the inside that allows us to turn on and off water access so that someone can come in and work on these pipes when they start to leak.
If you really want to obtain a large amount of data and you want to be able to do with it exactly what you'd like, you really need to get down into the nitty-gritty raw materials of social media analysis. And that means investing in a server, a web server of your own on which you can install scripts, such as PHP scripts for 140dev.com being one source. Run those scripts, and through those scripts gather information from APIs, programming interfaces that allow you to mine the raw materials of tweets, which don't look like the tweets on web pages themselves at all. It's possible to gather hundreds of thousands or millions, or if you have a large number of computers like Microsoft, possibly even billions of tweets or Facebook posts for a long-term intensive analysis. This can take a lot of money and it can take a lot of time, but the payoff can also be very large.